everybody out there? Well, it has been a while. At least it feels that way to me. But here, welcome to Unmute Now, the podcast that raises the volume on the whispered conversations in our communities. Now, guess what? It is the grand finale of season 2. But before we get really excited, I want to introduce you to the fabulous ladies that has been on this journey with me all throughout season 1 and season 2. So here we go. Natasha.
Hi.
Angela.
Hi.
And Raquel.
Hello, everyone.
Ladies, well, as you know, we spoke to Paul Brathwaite earlier about the contribution of funders like Community Foundation NI to podcasts like ours, or in general, to causes that gives migrant or marginalized communities a voice. And we have with us today Paul Brathwaite of Community Foundation NI. Let me just tell you, so guys, come on. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Can I just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, our wonderful audience, that this organization, Community Foundation NI, is the organization that has made season 2 of Unmute Now possible. Whoop, whoop. And without such funders, without such a funding community that is established within Northern Ireland, we won't have been able to do what we have done. And so we're going to talk to Paul a bit about his work, and we're going to talk about how that impacts perhaps marginalized communities. So Paul, welcome again. And would you be so kind to tell us a bit about what you do at Community Foundation NI?
Sure, no problem, Yolanda. And it's a real pleasure to be with you guys. And we're delighted to have been able to support season 2 of the podcast. So my role at the Community Foundation is Head of Innovation and Voice. So I'm part of a team the Community Foundation is an independent grant maker. So we fund community groups, charities, social enterprises all across Northern Ireland doing all kinds of different things. And my particular role is supporting some specific programs that are trying to stimulate innovation and also to elevate the voices of communities, those at the margins of society.
Well done. And that absolutely includes us and many other grassroots organizations that we are familiar with. We see that logo dotted everywhere around the place.
I love what he said there about elevating the voices.
Yeah.
Because obviously our tagline is
Raising the volume. Yeah.
Raising the volume.
Raising the volume and the whispered community conversation. So again, right within the remit of what we do. And I suppose, Paul, it comes back to perhaps when you're looking at funding applications, I'm assuming that logically you're looking at whether or not the applicant or fits into the remit of CFNI, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So the Community Foundation is a particular type of funder. So our strapline is connecting people who care with causes that matter. So we actually administer and distribute funds from a whole range of different donors ourselves. So we raise money as well. We have our own endowment, but we also raise money from private individuals, from businesses, and from other trusts and foundations. And then we distribute those sometimes just through straightforward grants, sometimes through programs that have capacity building and training alongside them, or sometimes programs with a particular focus, an issue or a theme like mental health or homelessness or something else. So that's the way we operate. So we have, I don't even know how many funds, over 50, and they open and close at different times of the year, and they're all different grant sizes. So if you look on our website, there's always something open and with a particular purpose and focus. But we do tend to support some of the smaller community groups, the grassroots organizations in Northern Ireland, as opposed to maybe some of the larger regional or UK-wide charities. So that's really kind of in our DNA and has been since we've been around for over 40 years now in Northern Ireland. So our DNA is really kind of grassroots, community-based organizations, who are right at the point of need.
One of the things in my head is the way that Community Foundation is able to be approachable to various different organizations. And I think that's pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you come about, operating in that way?
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that you feel it is that way, and we're always trying to improve. And I think internally we're pretty good at kind of constantly trying to learn lessons and evolve our systems. Like over the last year or so with COVID, and we've been at the forefront of just distributing grants for all those groups who have been responding in different ways and supporting volunteers across Northern Ireland who have been helping people impacted by the pandemic, and those who are isolated, and other kind of knock-on effects of the pandemic as well. So we've tried to get as flexible as possible and speed up our turnaround times for grants. But we do also pride ourselves on kind of having that human interface with people, and we're always at the end of the phone. I suppose it kind of comes down to our values really being the community foundation. The clues in the title. It wouldn't really work if we were called a community foundation, but you couldn't contact us. So yeah, so we do try to get out and about as well when we're allowed to. We haven't really been allowed to over the last year or so, but we get out and about virtually over the last year, and hopefully in the next year we might be able to get out and about physically and meet people. So we need to be connected into what's going on the ground as well, so we can hear what the needs are and adjust our approaches to fit what groups and organizations and communities need.
Okay, Paul, well, I'm not sure if you guys have funded any other podcasts. Maybe you can let me know, but what are your thoughts about funding a community podcast such as ours?
Well, it's brilliant. I don't know if we've funded any more podcasts. We must have done, but we have, thousands of grants. So it's over the last year, and we've given out quite a lot of money over the last year, about 8.8 million, I think, in grants. So it's kind of hard to keep track of everything, but we've supported you guys through a mechanism called the Pressure Group Fund, as you know. But for your listeners, that's a fund that it's small grants, but it's trying to fund grassroots organizations that are looking to lobby or advocate or raise awareness of specific issues or particular communities of interest, or geography, and who are just trying to elevate issues, and as I said earlier, elevate the voices in particular. So it's a fund that's particularly about voices. So the podcast fits right in there. You're both kind of, I guess you're kind of speaking in two directions. You're trying to engaging with particular communities, but you're also speaking to the rest of society and trying to elevate the voices of people perhaps who are more at the margins, or even just new to Northern Ireland and perhaps finding it a bit difficult. I moved out of Northern Ireland for quite a number of years and moved back and found that difficult myself. So I know it can be not the easiest place to fit in. So I think the work that you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic, and we're delighted to be able to support it. And that sort of community journalism really does fit in that idea of deepening democracy, essentially, which is kind of part of the ethos of my work. Making sure that our society is inclusive and that the voices that don't often get heard do get heard. And doing a podcast like this is a great way to contribute to that.
Thank you very much. And absolutely, Paul, we feel the same way about the work that the CFNI is doing. And to me, it would be so difficult. You should have a very long list of testimonials, and I'm sure it's very difficult to actually, sort of document the impact that you would have had on communities, because it would be probably too long to put on paper. And so from us, I absolutely say thank you, and thanks to CFNI a million for giving us the opportunity to present our voice, our opinion to society and to our community. Ladies, any final words?
Yes, I just wanted to ask you, Paul. I'm just thinking of people maybe who are listening to this right now, who are part of, say, a voluntary-led organization, grassroots, as you've mentioned, really passionate about doing great stuff. But obviously you can't approve, you can't give money to every single person that comes your way, even though you give a lot. What are the sort of things that you would be looking for? What's the sort of tips that you could give to organizations who are doing great work, but maybe wouldn't quite fit the criteria? What can they do to make their proposal more fundable?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to give a bland answer and say it depends on the fund, but I suppose the two kind of things would be, we look at the organization and we look at the project. So in terms of the organization, some of our funds require organizations to be constituted. That means they need to be kind of a registered company or a charity or some sort of social enterprise. But for others, like the Pressure Group Fund, that's not actually necessary. We would look to see that there is some kind of organization behind it, and some sort of, that we don't fund individuals for the most part. There have been a couple of exceptions to that in the past, but for the most part, we don't fund individuals. So it needs to be some sort of organized group with a set of objectives about what, who are they and what are they about? And we just need to check that kind of ticks the boxes in terms of public benefit and, non-discrimination and so on. And then in terms of the project, I suppose, what do we look for? I mean, we just look for an articulation of what will be the benefit, who will benefit and how, just being as clear and simple as possible. We definitely don't need reams and reams of information, but we want to know kind of what are some of the challenges that you're trying to address and how are you going about that? And then, from there, we're trying to, we like to have a really open relationship with the organizations that we support. And, if things don't turn out exactly as you had said they were going to, that's absolutely fine. We're more than happy to hear about that. And that's kind of, that's the nature of working for social change as well. So I don't know if that's helpful. It's maybe very general. I mean, do check out our website because there are specific criteria for every one of our funds. So you do just need to read through those and check that you meet those. But if they don't make sense or you're unclear, then do give us a ring or send us an email, and we're more than happy to chat to you and talk you through what the possibilities might be.
So it's the grand finale. How do you ladies feel?
Relieved.
Mixed. A bit of relieved, a bit of sad that the season's over, a bit of looking forward to the next one.
Yeah,
Angela.
anticipating, and looking forward to sort of sharing ideas and planning towards the next one while taking a break in the meantime.
Yeah. I think after listening to all three of you, I'm going to just be mixed. Everything. Sad, excited, relieved, everything. But sure. Here's a question for you ladies. Would you really change anything? And I'm going to begin with Angela.
Well, if I could have had a magic wand to change the fact that we had to record on Zoom in lockdown, I certainly would have changed that. But in spite of all that, true to our tagline, turning obstacles into opportunities, we ran with it. And we had a fabulous team behind us, particularly, James, who has been dealing with our, editing and so on. And he made something really good of our recordings. So yeah, would have changed that if I could, but hey.
Yeah. I suppose it's in order that we're going to be giving some big ups, shout out to all the people working in the background before this episode closes.
Yes.
Nasa, how about you? Would you change anything if you could?
No, I don't think I would change anything, even though, we faced some challenges, as we did last year, because we did begin when lockdown had just, the whole quarantine and lockdown had just started, and we didn't foresee at this time in season 2, we would still be in that position. But I think our experience with last year kind of helped us coming into this year, though we wanted to be out in our space, in our studio and, interacting with our guests a bit more. But no, I don't think I would change anything. I just wish I could give myself a bit more capacity. But other than that, no.
Word.
Well, here, we'll talk about that. Don't get there yet, Raquel. But ladies, guys out there, do you or have you noticed in the season how Natasha's makeup always outshine ours?
We don't even try. We don't even try. Like, no, she's got that one down pat. So hey, I'm just
It's a hobby. It's a hobby.
Makeup queen, we know it.
Raquel, sorry, I just had to say that. Raquel, would you change anything there?
If I was going to change anything, I would get Natasha to get all of us made up before we know. No, if I would change one thing, I would probably do a bit more of getting audience responses into the episodes that we did in season 2, and probably that's a thought for the future. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I suppose, for me, I wouldn't change a thing. And simply because I rely on a whole lot of proverbs and mantras you've heard your whole life. And it's that experience is the greatest teacher. And if we didn't have the experiences that we had, whether bad or good, we probably won't grow. So me, I'm just going to look back and learn from them, but I ain't changing nothing because I don't have that power. So that's good enough for me.
Okay.
Here's a question. And every podcast, every grand finale podcast They asked this question. It's not a trick question. Who was your favorite host?
Favorite host?
Was our favorite host or guest?
So they asked some of the hosts or of the
It's the
audience?
question.
Oh man.
Oh,
I thought I was going to get the reaction of what?
Well, you kind of have, because you stumped us.
Yeah.
That was the idea. That was the
I like-
idea. So I will go first.
Okay.
It really was the idea, and it really was a trick question because I was hoping everybody would say, you, Yolande.
Absolutely, definitely. We knew you knew it, so we just didn't say anything.
Actually, all of us. Weren't we great?
Yes, yes. I was going to say,
Yeah.
I think watching you other three ladies, every time somebody else, so one of you hosts, I expect a different thing. With Yolande, I never quite know what's going to come out. So she keeps you on your toes. With Angela, she just calmly just brings us back in every now
Yes.
when we go too much. And Raquel takes us on adventures. We thought we were going this way, but we end up going that way.
Yes.
But somehow we still come back in there. So I
Yes.
think everyone has their own
Or
style.
sometimes Raquel is on the fence. It's
Yes.
never a real decision.
Oh, really? And what about when Natasha's hosting?
Well,
Mm.
oh, come on, be nice, ladies.
Very like, I'm professional here. She really comes across that, especially when she does those social media handles at the end. It's very, and you will find person. Ready for the BBC? Come on, BBC, come get your girl.
Oh, dear.
Ladies, I am so sorry. I had to do that. But let us get back to the real conversation. Can I now ask you, ladies, do you have a vision for where you would like Unmute Now podcast to go? Any thoughts?
Yes, I would like us to keep getting bigger and better. I know that for the nature that a lot of us we're not born here, so we're coming with backgrounds and friends and families in different parts of the world. So while our main audience is here in Northern Ireland, we do bring our background and our audiences with us. So I would like us to expand not just within Northern Ireland, but to the wider UK and the world pretty much, because anyone can access podcasts on YouTube, on Spotify, etc. So I'd like us to keep growing, and I would like us to have a bit more interaction with our audience. As Raquel alluded to earlier, that would be nice. And at some point in time, when we'll be able to have a big production team behind us, and we can all just turn up and be talent, and not have to be paddling furiously behind, under the water. That would be nice. So we can just focus on our, on our research and on our podcast.
I think what I would throw in right now is that I would love to see our community coming behind us, all the businesses, finding ways to, sponsor us in different ways. I would just love to see the community coming along and us supporting them supporting us a lot more than we have been so far. Monetization would come out of that, but it's about just taking the journey together. That's what I'd like to see, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, and for me, I'd like to see, in addition to what you've said, I'd like to see us branching out and doing other things. And already we have indications of that. We have the beginnings of that, which is really exciting, where we're doing other projects beyond the podcast and taking the things that we're discussing in the podcast out into the community, out into workshops and all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, there are things happening in the pipeline that we're excited about there. So I'm looking forward to seeing that more.
Yeah, great listening, ladies. And for me, I suppose in terms of a vision, I am bent, and you ladies know, bent on collaborations. So I'm looking forward to a lot of partnerships, link up projects, and doing work maybe with other organizations that either kind of fit within the same remit that we have in terms of giving marginalized groups a chance to be heard. So I'm not sure what shape or form those collaborations would take, but I'm really looking forward to perhaps something like that. And in my mind, it does help us to grow our audience, which is always what the back or the end goal is, I suppose. So just in terms of the discussion going this way, then I might want to challenge you to ask you, can you foresee any limitations or barriers to the vision that you have? What do you think might hinder that vision?
Okay, let me jump in there. And I think we can do this together. It's that one word that goes round quite a bit. Okay, after three. 1, 2, 3.
Capacity.
Capacity.
That has been the word that I heard in my ear every time. Ladies, gentlemen out there, if you don't know, every time I came up with a bright idea, I would hear, well,
Of which there were
we don't
many.
have
Yes.
capacity.
Like, that sounds great, but capacity.
Honestly.
Bringing her in.
Yes, but honestly, because beyond this isn't all we do. Each one of us, we live very full lives, and we have various roles that we play, so many hats that we wear. So it's that balancing everything and make it all fit together. And honestly, I think about how much time we spend on the stuff that we do with Pivot and our Army podcast, and I really wonder how do we
It's
really
weekly.
squeeze it all in?
It's weekly.
It's
Every week
crazy.
we're doing stuff. Even though
Yeah,
you don't see us on a podcast, we are doing stuff. We are paddling
always.
furiously on
Yeah,
the water.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So there's a lot, but yeah.
Yeah.
Pat yourselves on the back, the girls, ladies, pat yourselves on the back because it really is hard. But I think at the end of the day, when we look back, we're actually, for me at least, it's still fulfilling that we've actually done
Yes.
it.
Absolutely.
So that's why I suppose that's what keeps us going as hard as it is. So
Yeah.
I'll jump in here. For me, it is all about the money. It really will be the money that would hinder what we want to do or the vision that I see. Because obviously, without funding, without that sector of contributors, there's very little that you can do unless you have a full-on commercial business. And so that's why we are very grateful for the likes of Community Foundation NI and Paul that we spoke to earlier, as I mentioned. And then we have in the background the likes of Resource and Racial Justice, another fund that our audience might hear about in another season. They might actually come on, but they have been instrumental in funding some of what keeps us going in the background, like our training, our equipment. So even though they probably don't play an upfront role, every funder is important in the work we do. And so for me, it's gonna be the money. So maybe we're gonna have to start doing selling some cakes out there. Who knows?
Yes.
Bake sales.
Yes.
Yes. And I think also maybe getting some physical resources in terms of funding is also great. But at the end of the day, we're only 4 of us, and sometimes we try to multiply ourselves to do everything. So, we've been throwing out calls out there for volunteers who want to help and stuff like that. And I know we have plans in the future that I won't go into where we'll be getting people in to actually work along with us and stuff like that. So hopefully that will also help us in terms of human, physical resources, feet on the ground.
I have to apologize for any noises coming from my background here. I'm really sorry. Hopefully we're not hearing that. And that is the joys of recording from your own home on Zoom.
Yeah. But as I was just about to say, obstacles into opportunities.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's my answer to your question.
Well, that works for me. But just sitting and thinking here, ladies, I just want to throw one more thing out there into the mix. I know we talked about. I know we've talked about.
Alone.
I know we've talked about your favorite hosts, but I want to just go back a bit because we don't have the videos to show like a real set of clips running now. But do you ladies realize that we've literally traveled virtually? We've been almost everywhere that we're connected to. So we've been to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, not on a happy note, obviously not. We've been to, was it Germany?
Switzerland?
Switzerland. We've been to Switzerland. We've been to Wales. We've been to England. Right here in Northern Ireland, we were in South Africa. And so what I mean by that is we have actually taken our podcast literally beyond Northern Ireland. How did you ladies feel about that though?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Go on. I was going to say, I'm quite pleased about that and excited about the possibilities that it throws open for the future. because if we're doing that and we're only 1 year old, then the future is bright.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also it just really shows the that community aspect of what of what we are. So if I think back to the episode of it was the Africa Day special.
Yes.
And on
Yes.
that episode alone, we had a guest from Kenya. We had one that was from Nigeria but speaking from Wales. We had a caterer who was from the Ivory Coast. We had a fashion designer. Sorry?
Fashion from Ghana, yeah.
Yes.
Grace
We
from
had
Ghana.
we had Grace from Ghana. Oh, that was a different episode. But we had a drummer from Ghana. So yeah, we went all over the place, So I think that's really amazing. Just kind of bringing that rich tapestry of the community into what we're doing. So I'm really, really happy about that. Hoping to see more of that.
Yeah, it kind of goes into what I was saying earlier as well about us bringing, our background and our audiences with us, but also not even people who are related to us, but for some reason found us and are tapping in, because I'm the one that looks at the analytics and I'm like, oh, people are watching us from here? What? How did you come by this? So it would be nice to find, maybe community-minded people or just people who can speak to certain topics that we might discuss in the future, and we can, liaise with them and have, a voice coming from different parts of the world. That would all be great for me.
And I obviously have to say, Raquel alluded to it, and I'm not going to really go deep, but it really did or does throw out opportunities, because we've had engagement with potential funder that lives nowhere, or that their business or the organization is set up nowhere in Northern Ireland, that would potentially be looking to support the work that we do. And that's simply because we've managed to have guests representing different areas of interest from across the globe. And so for me, I think that we have to commend ourselves that we're still incubating, still in 1 year, and we were able to flip podcasting on its head. We've made podcasting a concert with the Africa Week session. We've made podcasting visitation rights, for want of a better word. We've turned podcasting into something that's just not scripted behind a microphone and you deliver a monologue. There are many great podcasts that take that format, don't get me wrong, but I think because of who we are, we have managed to turn podcasting into something that works for us and our community. So I really, really, that's tooting your own horn, isn't it? But
Oh, dear.
well, yeah, the fact that Natasha just tooted her horn there. For me, I cannot resist the urge, although I'm going to ask you about your favorite episode.
Oh, Lord.
I cannot resist the urge to remind myself mentally of some of the bloopers. And one of the bloopers for me personally was the episode. I don't know if anybody ever noticed in the episode, Granny used to sing. Natasha starts off beautifully, her matching earrings with her matching outfit. And in this episode, it was a green outfit and a very long and pear-shaped green pair of earrings. And during the episode, I remember just seeing one earring going down, 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 all the way. And she ended up with one earring. And in my mind, I sat there thinking, okay, we're now half beautiful.
Ever since then, I'm having post-traumatic hearing disorder. I keep looking at my like, are they in? Are they in?
Oh, dear.
Oh my goodness.
I remember Angela and I have had similar experiences where we have dropped out of the episode. Our Wi-Fi just went dead and we just suddenly disappeared.
Seriously, and
when it scrambled all the images for you.
Yes, because I'm looking where Raquel is supposed to be, and Raquel is now over there, and I'm just but we just kept rolling as if nothing happened. We just kept right on going.
Yeah. I'll tell you one issue that I used to have in season 1 was that we'd say, right, everybody phones off or silent or whatever, and I put it on silent. But I'll forget about the various, I have alarms for everything. And I forgot about the various alarms that I've got, and the alarms don't obey the whole duty. So we're going, I was like, Angela's long weekend. I avoided that this season.
Yes.
Well done, well done. But I suppose we haven't had, well, some of the disasters we've had, we thank God for editing. You can fix that.
Yes.
But I know there's been some clothing disasters.
Oh,
Where Raquel's gone?
Got another one. Raquel's just disappeared.
Raquel jinxed herself. So Raquel has, disappeared.
Has
Hopefully she'll be
left the
back on.
building.
You see, this is what we were talking about.
Raquel has
It's
left the chat.
bloopers.
You jinxed it.
You know what? We're not taking this out. Yeah, right.
No, it's like- Whenever she
Ladies
puts
and
something
gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen
Case
out there,
report.
please, you have got to love us.
Oh,
We
gosh.
absolutely love you. We enjoyed season 2. We enjoyed season 1. And this is who we are. We are on mute now. And honestly, I cannot tell you what an experience it is behind the scenes. So if you're seeing this right now, you can imagine what happens behind the scenes. So there you go.
Move right along, and hopefully Raquel will just work her way back in.
Hopefully. But you see, the thing is, before she dropped out, there was a freeze. She was just like,
Oh.
I was looking at
Oh my goodness. This is absolutely horrendous.
Oh, goodness.
Well, ladies, so shall we continue? I am going to ask you, bloopers, go away. Over, bloopers, over. I'm going to ask you, really, what was your favorite episode? Did you have one?
I liked International Women's Day. I liked having all those, fantastic women and the different fields that they represented and the things that they spoke about. I like having a mix of, the younger female generation represented by Sasha. Was it Sasha? Yes.
Sasha,
Yes, a wonderful musician. And then we had fashion. We had I forget the lady's name, but speaking about counseling and things like that, all things that are, yes, Vivian, that's right, thank you. And in representing corporate and the arts and fashion and everything. It was just wonderful.
Hey, she's back.
She's back. We said, oh, she jinxed herself.
Raquel, I cannot believe that happened at the minute we're talking
Just
about
said it.
And ladies, people, this is not staged. This was not staged. Raquel!
That's hilarious.
Rebecca, we're just answering like what was our favorite episode, just so.
And for ladies, we're in Northern Ireland. Here, I call it behind God back. But Raquel lives more behind God back. So you see where Raquel lives? There's internet saga out there all the time.
So please bear with Raquel. This is not winter, eh? You're on mute. I don't know if you're talking, but
you're on mute now. Raquel.
Unmute now.
Oh, she's not actually on mute. She's not actually muted.
Oh dear me,
come back.
No sound.
Do it on purpose this time. Go out and come back in.
Oh my
God. Oh dear, this is hilarious. What a finale.
It wouldn't be us if there wasn't some drama.
Oh goodness.
Oh God. Right. Okay. My favorite episode, to be honest, it really was International Women's Day. But I have to say, I did really enjoy the conversation in weddings. And when I look back at weddings, I'm like, damn, girl, you didn't even say anything nice about your wedding. There was a whole lot of nice things to say. Like, my girl that sang at my wedding, my girl, Hotfoot, that was our hall name back in the day of Yui Mona kind of vibes. But my girl, Carlette Groom, had this beautiful song, surprised me because she had lied to say that she had missed the flight for the wedding. And then I heard that voice. I knew it was beautiful. So man, for me, weddings was the episode that was my favorite. What about you, Angela?
Oh, I really liked Africa Day. I liked that episode just because it brought so much positivity to the discussion. around Africa. And I love the fact that we were able to show so many different things that are happening around the continent of Africa. And Gloria was able to just kind of give us some, give us some really good news stories there. And I also enjoyed the discussion with Ellie, who's obviously an amazing journalist and a lot of insight and so on. Love the food.
Oh, yes, the plantains were lovely, and the puff puff.
Yes, from Camissa's kitchen. And yeah, I love that episode. Really good. Raquel?
And Raquel, what about you?
Providing, of course, that the technology works.
I can hear you.
I don't know. It's hard to choose because the ones that have been said before, I fully agree with. But I think I'm still torn. I have two favorites that are left. Two favorites.
I know.
Yeah, the domestic violence, I thought, even though you can't really say you enjoy talking about domestic violence, but I thought that was very powerful.
Yeah.
And the human resources one, I thought was, I keep referring people back to it, when people ask me things, I say, go and listen to our podcast episode, Yeah, so yeah, those are two, yeah.
I thought you were going to say the cultural proverbs one because you had so
really
many up your sleeve.
I did love it.
Well, it just goes to show you that there were many, many, many good episodes.
Yes, there were.
If you haven't caught up, go ahead. Check out our channel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, ladies, we've got to bring the curtain down in fine style. Well, Zoom does not allow that, it seems. But I have to say one thing to our audience. We've alluded to it, that we're still babies. We're only under a year. We are coming up to our 1 year anniversary in July. And we will be attempting to make it a bashment. And speaking of it to the universe, I don't know what form it will take, but you are going to see us coming back with our 1 year celebration. This is the grand finale of season 2, but our 1 year anniversary is coming up in July. So you gotta look out for us and look out for what we'll be doing. We might be even having some online competition. I don't know, but look out for us. We are absolutely grateful that we've had you on this journey with us. And before we go, I just want to ask the ladies, any final words, any words of encouragement, anything you want to say to our audience?
Well, I'm going to jump straight in and first of all say, we are coming back. So come with us on season 3.
Absolutely. And just to say that, we're talking about the fact that we're coming up to 1 year, we're still toddlers in this, they're just about to start walking. So I think my encouragement to anyone out there is if there's anything that's on your heart, you don't know how it's going to happen, just take a step of faith, just step out and watch everything line up. That's what we've done. And we're very, very grateful for the journey that we've been on so far and looking forward to the rest of it.
Brilliant. And I'd just like to encourage our audience. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank our audience for sticking with us. Those of you who were there from the beginning, from season 1 to season 2, those of you who joined us on later, thanks for the watches, thanks for the views, thanks for the listens so much. We appreciate it. We want to continue growing for our next season, season 3. And I also want to encourage those of you who only watch us on YouTube to please sign up to whether Spotify or Apple Podcasts, any other online podcast platform, and listen to us as well. We know you like seeing our faces and seeing the banter and stuff like that, but it'd be lovely for you to listen to us as well. While you're driving, on your working out, things like that, just throw on your Apple Podcast, throw on your Spotify, and listen to us as well, because we're also trying to grow ourselves on that platform. And just stick with us, interact with us a bit more for season 3. We're going to try our best to have more interactions on our social media platforms to get you guys a bit more involved, maybe feature your voices, you never know. And we just want to make it more of a family, more of a community, and not just us speaking to you. We would like you to speak to us as well.
Yeah.
And remember, I said we're going to be giving some shout outs, some big ups to the people that make this thing happen behind the scenes. Ladies, you're going to have to help me here. But I want to say thank you so much to MD Shoots. She's a fabulous photographer, videographer, whatever you want to call her, in the background. She makes us look beautiful on camera. And to Belfast Bohemian, well, lovingly for us, James. He is our primary editor. He puts the graphics on this thing and make it look good. We've got community
a lot
behind
for changes and our demands.
Our shortcomings, yes.
Feels a bit graciously.
Thank you, James. The ladies
Thank you,
love
James.
you. And we've got community of people behind us, the likes of Axoni that we have worked with and partnered with. That's the African Caribbean Support Organization, Northern Ireland, and particularly Joe and Dr. Livingston, Laurie, and all the people that have been guests.
Yes.
Yes, you've been
Sasha.
fabulous. Without you, this probably would not have happened. It would not have been the same for sure. So we really, really, really want to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
And our trainers, Catherine Johnson, Davy Sims,
Davy
Joseph Ricketts. Thank you all so much.
And
Alan Mebban.
And Alan Mebban,
Yes.
thank you for your
Yes.
guest editing as well.
We're gonna get in trouble if we forget to name anybody here now.
Shout out to
Yeah.
all our guests. We love you. Thank you so
All
much.
our
Yeah,
guests.
thank you so much. Yes.
And all our funders. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And our funders.
And so,
Absolutely.
ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of season 2. And we must say, we must say goodbye. We have
Yes.
turned obstacles into opportunities. We have done the best that we could have done. And so we say thank you and goodbye from all of us at
Goodbye
Unmute
for
Now.
now.
We encourage you to keep raising
Raising
the
the
volume. From us here, we say
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And follow us on our social
Au revoir.
media
See you again
platforms.
soon.
You can email us at unmutenow1@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at unmutenow, Twitter unmutenow1. That's it.
always the professional.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.